Yeah, I do. There's a reason for that. Up until now, all of the schools that I went to were private schools, and because of that, all of the schools were dominantly Roman Catholic or some form of Christianity. So everyone celebrated Christmas.
Yeah, we always had a party in class or something like that.
Yeah, quite extensively.
Yeah.
I went to a Catholic school for a couple of years, so naturally be a part of that. And then even in like public school, it was like, it wasn't holiday break or like winter break, it was always like Christmas break. So.
Well, yeah, I do, because I went to Catholic schools for 12 years, so there was a significant Christian aspect to my education.
In elementary school, we always had a tree that would put up in each lobby. We would decorate it. The kids would bring in small $5 presents, and then it'd pretty much just be a white elephant gift exchange or Secret Santa.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely. We would have a Christmas party every year.
Yeah, like in elementary school, we would sing like for Christmas concerts, like Amazing Grace and Silent Night and things like that.
No, not really.
Not at all? Okay.
Only superficially. I remember like we had parties with coloring pictures and doing decorations and stuff, but we didn't ever go into the religious aspect of any of the holidays.
Yeah, we had different projects and stuff that we worked on. I can remember making like a little countdown chart until the days of Christmas.
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
Nah, because I'm Roman Catholic.
Right.
Not typically, no.
Not typically?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
No, there were mentions of it, and like in band, like we would play songs from other cultures, but
Okay, cool.
there wasn't ever any like celebration or like actual acknowledgement. So.
Well, actually, as a Catholic school student, I was exposed to other world religions, and we learned quite a bit about them, as a religious institution, but there wasn't a celebration aspect to that, but there was a good educative quality about my experience.
Would you say there was an acknowledgement each time? Like if there was end of Ramadan, there was an acknowledgement on that day?
I think it really just depended on how that fit into the curriculum.
Okay.
Yeah.
There would be something that a lot of teachers would just say, hey, it's time for Hanukkah. Do you think we could do a few activities? And it'd pretty much just be up to the class if we wanted to participate in them or not.
Yeah, in our like holiday programs, we like incorporated a little of everything. So we would do some general like happy holiday songs that would incorporate like happy Kwanzaa, happy this, happy that.
Like dreidels.
Yeah, and dreidels, and like the decorations were always like very multiculturally aware.
My family doesn't celebrate those kind of holidays, so no.
Okay. So not even in school?
Not in school either.
Very rarely we might do like a picture with like something that, like the candles or, something just to kind of, oh, look, we're representing the other holidays, but nothing that really taught us anything.
No, it was mainly Christmas, yeah.
Inquire.
I didn't really know anything about it because I had just moved to the United States in the year 2000. On April 1st of that year, I had moved from Venezuela to the United States. So I was still I hadn't learned any English up till that point. Now, I did learn English fairly quickly, but I was fairly ignorant about world news until several years later. When I did eventually learn about the 9/11 terrorist attacks, I don't think I would say that I felt any anger towards them, because there's a difference between extremist Muslims and Muslims. Every group has its own extremists, and they make up a very small percentage of that group.
Of course.
So I don't think it would be morally correct to say that all Muslims are like that. They're not.
Right.
I mean, I didn't really think about it too much until recently, because that's what we talk about now, but
I grew up in a very liberal family, and I also had a few friends who were Muslim. My views on Muslims didn't really change from a personal standpoint, but I was aware that there was an Islamic ideology behind the violent acts. So I was aware of that, you know.
I was young. I was about 4, so I didn't really know what was happening. My views on them haven't changed. They're human beings, to each their own, but if they decide to cause harm on others, then that's when action should be taking place.
Growing up, I didn't really have an opinion on them because I didn't really understand. I was really, really young at the time. I just heard that some bad people did some bad things and a lot of people died. So my parents didn't really bring any, they didn't really bring any blame into it. They weren't like, those are bad people. Anyone who you see, who are part of this group, they're all bad people. They weren't really like that.
Well, I went to elementary school in Manhattan, so I was actually blocks away from that when it happened. I would say to just actually more directly answer the question, I didn't really have a religious connotation with the event, just because I just saw I was 9, so I was just really scared, and all the buildings and smoke, and there was a lot of destruction, and I remember my aunt came in a taxi and picked me up from school, and we were going, and I was looking behind out of the car window, and I was just seeing everything, and people were running, and it was just really scary. And then days after that, we found out about, I guess, the countries involved.
Yeah, well, I was in kindergarten, so I definitely don't remember much from that immediate time period. But I do know, as I got older, I did hear some, sentiments against certain religions or people because of 9/11, and I never really understood it because it wasn't a religion that attacked us, it was people. Mm-hmm. And I do understand why people could be nervous or scared, but I don't think that it's ever okay to discriminate because of that.
I probably wasn't old enough to remember. No, they didn't change as much. I was really young though, so they really didn't change.
I remember there, I guess just growing up, being young, not really knowing what's going on, having a fear of Middle Eastern looking people. Yeah.
I don't think I can say that, no. I've been keeping up with my world history as much as I can, world history, current event news, and I don't think that a lack of knowledge would prevent me from looking into a topic. If anything, it would make me want to look into it more, do some personal research.
So not that I can think of right now. I'm sure it's happened, but nothing's coming to me at the moment.
I understand, for the most part, of the big public concerns, ISIS is a militant group trying to get their Islamic faith back into the area. Really, if I don't know anything, I go to biased websites such as Fox and CNN, and they pretty much tell me the Democratic and Republican sides of it, but not really a unbiased opinion.
I would definitely put some research into it because, I do like to know, because it's my right as a citizen to know like what's going on around me. I like to put a lot of research into current events, and it's not my place to say, you can't do this, you can't do that, and whatever and stuff. So I definitely do try to put some research so I can make a fair decision.
I would say no, because like for me, I have a very open door policy with making friends with different kinds of people. Like just as a gay male, like I'm very open with anything. So I have friends who are Hindu, I have friends who are Muslim, I have friends who are Christian, atheist, like everything. And like, I guess as far as current events go, like I'll pick on the ISIS thing a little bit, but like I was part of a project called ILET, which stands for Iraqi Young Leaders Student Exchange, and a bunch of Iraqi students came to Ball State for over the summer to have an exchange experience for one summer session, and my job was to like be a cultural liaison for them, and that was kind of my connecting moment to Islam and understanding like that culture better. So as far as current events go, like I kind of consult with my friends to get the real story beyond what I'm just seeing on like Fox News or CNN.
Half and half. Like first half, yes, because some of it, like, they wasn't really speaking that well. Plus, there wasn't really that much information I needed to know. And then no, because there was like different activities and stuff that I kind of liked to do when they made them.
Okay. Yeah, I try not to like give my 2 cents unless I've done some research. So I'll talk to my family, I'll like watch TV, I look on the internet and try to get informed on it before I'll make any kind of, I give my own opinion or go to something where I'm, directly involved.
I'll admit it, yeah. No, it was more of I didn't want to talk about controversial topics because they would have clashing views with maybe someone else.
Probably. I think that if I don't know about it, I try to ask people about it. If they seem like they know about it. I don't think I avoid it. I think I just ask questions.
Roman Catholic, still am.
Christianity.
I was raised Catholic, and then I was an atheist for a while, and now I'm a practitioner of like Norse religion, so very different depending on when you ask. Growing up I was a Catholic though.
I was Catholic.
My parents tried to push me towards the Catholic and the Christian faith, but I ultimately decided on my own to not find a faith and just try to be independent.
My parents didn't raise me with a certain religion. They decided to let me pick my own because they're cool. Yeah. So when I turned around 10, I had one friend who was really, really into me going to heaven. So I kind of, on a whim, I told my mom, I was like, hey, I want to be a Catholic. So, she supported me through all that, and I got baptized, and I'm still technically a member of the Catholic Church, but I don't really have a certain religion.
So I kind of went from house to house as a child. I was like in a family that practiced Catholicism for a while, and then when I was living with my aunt, she doesn't practice anything. She's sort of religious, but like kind of non-practicing. So I really don't know like what she belongs to exactly. But then when I went into foster care, I went into foster care with a Korean family, and they are very devoutly Christian reformed. So like that is the faith I most identify with, because that's when, like, as a child, I was earnestly going to church a lot. And, yeah, so I grew up with, like, being Christian Reformed, probably.
I grew up as a Christian.
Christian? I was Catholic.
Christianity.
Let's see. I know, cause I have a buddy of mine who's Muslim. I know that, I know I'd like to say that I know, because I know like both Judaism and Muslims, they both have different like diets than we do, but that ties in with their religion. But I hate to say that I'm not sure if I know too much about either religion.
Sure. Well, let's say Judaism is a religion that Christianity and Catholicism have a root in. They trace their roots back to the Abrahamic tradition, as Christianity does. And the world religion of Buddhism takes its root from earlier Hindu traditions, and they focus more on the philosophical aspect of removing suffering from the world, as opposed to the sort of pantheistic quality of Hinduism.
Christianity was actually originally supposed to be a branch of Judaism, and Hinduism, there's too many gods to name.
Gosh, I want to, okay. Well, there's Taoism, and I learned about that in my Chinese culture and civilization class, and that's a very interesting religion because it's very nature focused, and it's more like a model of society, and focuses less on actual prayer and things like that, which most Asian religions tend to do. And I guess the other religion that I would want to say is Shintoism, just because I'm a Japanese major, and like obviously I learned about that, and like Taoism, it also has a strong nature focus, and it's kind of polytheistic in the sense that there's a lot of different gods and deities behind different natural forces. But and they have like Shintoist temples in Japan, and you go and you pray and you do incense, and you kind of do all of that because you're asking that specific god or that deity for like luck or fortune. And yeah, that's some facts about other religions, I guess.
One fact about Christian religions is that it really changes a lot of people. Same thing with Catholics, except they have a little more high standards.
Okay. There's Christianity, and Jesus died, and we should be happy that, I don't know.
Okay.
And in Jewish religion, Judaism, Hanukkah is very delicious, and if you ever have the chance to go to Hanukkah, do it. Get yourself some latkes and say.
In Judaism, I mean, if they don't believe that Jesus was God's son, in Buddhism, I get it mixed up. They believe in Nirvana, right? Yeah.
I cannot. Let's see. Hinduism practices with like Buddha and stuff. Muslim, they have the Quran.
Yeah, Muslim believes that Muhammad is the prophet, and they follow the Quran. What else? It's actually harder than I thought it would be. Judaism, and they believe there is Messiah that has not yet.
Yeah.
Some of the findings that we found, especially when it comes to like people celebrating only Christian holidays in schools, that was a majority consensus for a lot of people, is they didn't celebrate outside religions.
So I actually went to a parochial school in elementary school up until 5th grade, and obviously there we didn't celebrate any religious holidays venturing outside of Christianity whatsoever. And even when I did transfer to public schools in 6th grade for middle school, that still was non-existent. There was just strictly Christian Christmas activities, and it wasn't winter break, it was Christmas break. So yeah. Okay, and when we asked these individuals to name 2 religions and 1 fact about each, we found that it was really difficult for them to do that. They could easily name the 2 religions, but they didn't have much of an understanding, even the basic knowledge that came with that. That was not very good.
Personally, like, I went to a public high school for all 4 years of high school, and when I started dating my current boyfriend, he was Buddhist, and I had no idea what that entailed, and he had to explain everything to me, and it was just really eye-opening because I hadn't experienced anything outside of Christians, especially Catholicism, and so I had no idea about other religions and how they worked. A majority consensus for people, either how they felt, if they felt they avoided current events, especially when they were talking about the 9/11 question. People were too young at that time to either were too young, or and they didn't really have an opinion, or they just took their parents' opinions, and they were told bad people did bad things.
When we asked the question if people have ever found themselves avoiding a current event due to lack of knowledge of the various religious groups involved, the majority consensus that we found was that typically if they didn't have prior knowledge of this, they wouldn't research it, and they would remain quiet when the subject presented itself because they didn't want to go into a debate or discussion with either the stereotypes or the stereotypical answer or an entirely wrong answer altogether. One guy actually mentioned that he personally goes to search for the most stereotypical information that he can regarding current events to get, he feels that gives the main idea of it. So he actually saw that as a good thing and used that as a source of his understanding. I unfortunately was within, I unfortunately was with that group in that I tried not to get involved in situations that I didn't understand, and I didn't necessarily further research it to understand it more. So I honestly just, because of that, let stereotypes that I heard kind of control my ideas of different cultures around me. And this class has affected me in the sense that I'm kind of being, forced to acknowledge all these different cultures and races and what it's like for them in everyday lives, and a deeper understanding of that.
I feel like growing up with all the stereotypes that I've heard, coming from a mostly white high school, being in this class and knowing all of these, like the consensus that we've found for these, I am much, much more willing to like look into things, And I've started looking into like current events and things that's going on now, and I'm just with this class has really affected me to look more into things, and I feel like that's something that needs to be incorporated into schools as well.
And we just kind of realized that it's a little absurd that I'm a junior in college.
I'm a sophomore in college.
And that it's taken us this long to be presented with
different religions and ideas
right.
and sides of the story.
And to be forced to think about that kind of understanding and outside of the stereotypes of what a culture is.
I feel like this is why in the article One Nation, Many Gods, there was a part where after 9/11, that school, which had the religious class where the students learned about different religions in an unbiased setting, versus all the other schools that didn't, and how in the other schools the attacks on Muslim students after 9/11 went up, but in the school that had religious studies did not. I feel like that right there is evidence that it's really important for students to learn about religion earlier on than sophomore and junior year of college.
Definitely. And it's hard, and I feel like we would have a better understanding of the current events around us if we understood these religious backgrounds and instead of just the stereotypes of them.
I feel like for one of the Bennett framework, this definitely is screaming for curriculum form in across the board.
Okay, from the Bennett framework curriculum reform idea, in the article One Nation, Many Gods, there's 4 different points that they make that should definitely be considered into it. The improved teacher training, because the biggest barrier is that teachers don't feel prepared to talk about these different cultures because themselves don't have that prior knowledge that they need in order to teach it to children. Understanding the law, work with communities, not against them, and consider it a core mission. Understanding the laws, school officials are supposed to be fair, honest, neutral brokers who allow various voices to be heard, and that's one of the quotes from the article. And neutrality means fairness. So
in order to be neutral for all religions or lack thereof, teachers need to understand that the law says that we need to be able to have a safe space for the students to learn, regardless of what they believe or don't believe in. And the law does not say that we don't need to talk about religion in school, but we just need to be, we can't have a bias or preach one religion.
Religion is already evident in classroom because it's, with the Christmas decorations and singing carols from Christian religion. I mean, it's evident that it's there. So why are we so afraid to branch out and touch base on the different religions rather than the ones that we're most comfortable with, which is our own? Aside from it being essential to just basic current events and things of that nature, that just social studies in itself, you need to include religion in that. You just can't teach social studies, period, without including religion into that.
Mm-hmm.
As a social worker, it's a little difficult because we're not actually in the classroom, but I definitely think it should be at least acknowledged when there's a religious holiday, just so, they can begin to understand, be exposed to that different culture, like Ramadan. Oh, well, what's that, So then they go home and they're, intrigued they start asking questions from, their parents or their friends or things of that.
As a teacher, I feel like it's really important for us to acknowledge the different religions in our curriculum, and even just in math, the different subjects are really connected, and figuring out a way to connect social studies, which cannot be taught without teaching at least the basics of different religions, figuring out a way to connect social studies and math together without avoiding different religions would be extremely, extremely beneficial. Our experiences.
Schools are the one place where all these different religions meet, so it's probably the one place where it would be most beneficial to take advantage of that.